Kasi pag tangke ako, nag-red sila.
Dito natin Elise.
Elise na lang tayo. Puro Elise yung binan ng kabila.
Binandan niya Grajas.
Boys, TME on 3. 1, 2, 3, TME!
Kain!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here in the Garena Premier League Summer 2017. We are now on the second day of the group stage, and we are on the second match of today's lineup. Of course, we're going to be your shotcasters. I'm Shibu with 149. My partner here is Neep, as we would cast you and bring all the action for the match between Kalambur Hunters from Malaysia and, of course, the Headhunters from Indonesia.
Yeah, and I believe both of these teams are currently sitting at roughly the same standings. And if you take a look, Kuala Lumpur Hunters, they had a pretty good start. They did manage to take a victory against Young Generation. Let's take a look at the standings right here. So we do see Headhunters and Kuala Lumpur Hunters both 1-2. And Kuala Lumpur Hunters, they played against Young Generation. They're actually the only team to beat Young Generation so far. Meanwhile, Headhunters, they're also 1-2, and they took that victory actually from our very own TME, Team Manila Eagles. So both of these teams, even though they're at the bottom of the standings right now, I feel like both of them are very good.
Yes, there's still a lot of things to look forward to between these two teams, especially we are just on the early, despite, you know, we are still in the second day. I think it's still too early to really conclude this group stage. What we can only bank on is that Kuala Lumpur Hunters being a veteran team, considering GPL Spring 2017, they also had a considerable run. You know? So with the group stage, and yeah, if I'm not mistaken, their run as well in their local league, it's very strong, it's very dominant.
I believe they're almost undefeated except for the finals where they almost got reverse swept by the second place team. And it's really interesting to see Headhunters and Kuala Lumpur Hunters both in the same scenario, because a lot of people assume Indonesia as the weakest region based on past results, based on past GPLs. Indonesia has always been at the bottom, but Kuala Lumpur Hunters, they've been very dominant when it comes to the GPL. They even had the opportunity this season to boot camp in Korea. So their goal has been Worlds so far for the past few months. So hopefully they can bounce back. Hopefully they can show what they've got. But Headhunters, even though they're not using their mid laner Petland, a Vietnamese player, he unfortunately isn't playing with Headhunters due to an injury. He's replaced by Patrick, the mid laner of Bangkok Titans. And Patrick's been doing a very good job so far, actually. So let's see if they can keep it up. But the synergy is there. Like, you can see how Patrick isn't really used to the team just yet. I think that's hurting Headhunters a bit.
Not to mention, we are playing on the 7.16 patch. There are actually some considerable changes in the 7.16 patch, like changes in Cassiopeia, in Oriana on this AP mid lanes. It cannot be denied that for the previous patch, I cannot say that the mid lane is that healthy. It's only just this 7.16 that there's a little bump on that mid lane. So maybe that would be one thing that Indonesia's Headhunters could bank on with their substitute mid laner, as they want to put a dent on Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
Yeah.
Because Kuala Lumpur Hunters clearly enters this match as, let's say, the maybe the stronger team.
Yeah, for sure.
To Headhunters Indonesia. And what's very interesting about this GPL, for the information of many, and of course for our viewers, we got 2 slots on our way to Worlds. It's been a long time since GPL has been considered actually for the international stage, but this time we got 1 slot directly for the group stage and 1 slot for the play-ins.
Yes, that leaves a lot of opportunities for these teams to make it to Worlds, and I think the teams are feeling that as well. The teams are thinking this is probably their best chance to make it to Worlds, so they're giving it all they got. And so far, based on the standing, it's very, very close. I mean, a lot of the teams are beating each other. There's not really a clear leader so far.
Yes.
Maybe Young Generation is probably one of the leaders, but other than that, it's anyone's game.
And if you consider actually, despite having slight bite for the BCSA Gigabyte Marines, and of course, if I'm not mistaken, for Ascension, or the country where Ascension came from, it still cannot be denied that there are teams here. The odds of getting to Worlds, if you just count for the number of teams, is still higher, you know?
Yeah, a lot higher.
If you get out of this group stage, like, as a player, the idea of being very close and qualifying for the world stage, let's say the world stage, there are monsters there, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely, but the idea of qualifying for the world stage, that's still something that can really bring a big honor for your country.
And what's interesting is, going back to the actual teams that are playing, Kuala Lumpur Hunters, if we recall back in spring 2017 GPL, in the semifinals, they actually got reverse swept by the Gigabyte Marines. So they were this close to going to MSI, which is almost as good as Worlds. Like, not as great as Worlds, but it's still an honor to be there. So I feel like KLH pretty frustrated after that defeat. So they're coming in strong. And
Come again on this, what GPL?
Earlier in April, like
this GPL Spring?
GPL Spring 2017, if you recall the semifinals between
the
Gigabyte
semifinals.
Marines and Kuala Lumpur Hunters, KLH up 3, and then they got reverse swept.
That's why there's still a lot of expectations coming in
Yeah.
from Kuala Lumpur Hunters. Like, if you're going to be dividing this Southeast Asian region into 2 groups, definitely Kuala Lumpur Hunters cannot be denied to be put on the upper teams.
Yeah.
You know, upper considered teams. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we're just gonna be waiting for our picks and bags to load up. Not to mention, I'd like to send a big shout outs for our viewers there, especially for the Filipino viewers. What you are watching is, of course, our coverage for the Garena Premier League. And of course, we have our very own team fighting for this. It's been a long time since we were able to actually send the team for the Worlds.
Yeah,
right?
last time was World Season 3, so almost 4 years.
Almost 4 years, and in that span of, you know, almost 4 years, the idea of having a Philippine team in the world stage seems mute.
Yeah, I mean, I think people forgot how exciting it was to have a Philippine team be at Worlds. I remember vaguely seeing Mineski go up against my favorite players from Fnatic, from Vulcan, I believe. I remember watching, it was...
I'm not so sure, is it M5 or it was, they're already Gambit Gaming by that time?
I don't remember who's... The only teams I remember in the group was Samsung, Ozone, Fnatic, and Vulcan.
Oh.
If I recall correctly.
Vulcan.
Yeah, Vulcan.
What was the team Diamond Prox was in?
Diamond Prox, I believe at that point they were Gambit.
Gambit Gaming. Yeah. I recall they had a match with Gambit Gaming, ladies and gentlemen. So we're just waiting. You can see our players preparing for the game. Kuala Lumpur Hunters. So I'm actually trying to recall the players for Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
Faces. So in the top lane you have Shiro. I think he's famous for his Renekton, his Jarvan, his Rumble, those type of champions. Jungler, you have Caspiel, probably
Caspiel,
one of the better junglers in this tournament.
Definitely.
Like, maybe
something
aside
that could go up to the maybe even a better jungler.
Aside from Levi,
Levi
Levi from Gigabyte Marines, he's definitely top 2, top 3 in the tournament for sure. and he has kind of shown it so far. A little bit of slip-ups here and there. For the mid lane, you have Arhedge. So last split, he was actually this... No, yeah, last split, he was the mid lane. So he transitioned last year from a support to the mid lane. So when Azura Vecchi left to join Hong Kong Esports, it was Arhedge who transitioned from the support role to that mid lane. For the AD carry, of course, you have Vecchi. So that's the difference between this roster and the roster from the KLH roster from last split, is that they have Azura Vecchi and, of course, Bipolar.
Bipolar.
That, yeah.
Bipolar, one of the supports who did not hesitate on pulling off that Camille in the bottom lane. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We got the drafting phase. Once again, Kuala Lumpur Hunters. And of course, Kuala Lumpur Hunters from Malaysia and Headhunters from Indonesia. For the bans here, we got the Vladimir, Cassiopeia, and of course, Tristana should be the answer. Shadwani here.
Yeah, and it looks like...
There's still the... Despite playing in the 7.16 patch, we still have the Cassiopeia ban.
Yeah, Cassiopeia, I think after watching all the games, I'm pretty sure after the tournament, their coaches, the players themselves, they went through all of their games, studied their opponent, and I think the thing that stands out the most is Patrick is very scary on the mid lane. The Vladimir is not a ban you usually see in the meta, but he played Vladimir against Team Manila Eagles, and he destroyed everyone with that Vladimir, if you recall correctly. It was the Rek'Sai on Chris Kyle and the Vladimir on Patrick that really destroyed this TME team. So it looks like KLH respecting Patrick's Vladimir and banning it away.
Alright, so we also got a Kalista here. Apart from the metal, ladies and gentlemen, a Galio. Actually, there's a nerf on Galio, but
yeah,
I still believe he's very strong.
Yeah, still very strong.
His laning is still strong. I believe what should be nerfed was his Q. What was nerfed was actually the middle part of his ult. The middle levels of his ultimate. So we got the Cho'Gath here for Headhunters.
Sire Khan still available. Something that a lot of these teams have been picking up when they see the Tristana, when they see the highest priority AD carries so far in this tournament have been Tristana, Kalista, and Saya.
Saya. What's interesting is there's no priority on the Caitlyn on this one. I think, or even at the Saya.
7.15, 7.16, Caitlyn got nerfed extremely hard. If you look at the win rate, actually, Caitlyn's win rate's almost like around 40% in solo queue.
Her kit got nerfed.
Yeah, so her kit just not as strong as it used to be. And KLH, they're going to lock in the Jarvan and the Rex. I really like these picks. So the comfort pick for Shiro in the top lane, it's going to be a Jarvan top, Galio mid for Arhedge, and the jungle Rek'Sai for Caspiel. Caspiel very good on these aggressive junglers, and he also stole away the Rek'Sai from Chris Kyle. This is something that Chris Kyle really likes.
The first pick after this second set of ban would be on Headhunters, right?
Yeah. So it's going to be Headhunters. KLH gets 2 picks.
Yeah, it's very dangerous because right now there's still no ADC for KLH.
Yes.
But interestingly, they banned a Janna instead of an ADC.
I think it's okay because yeah, Janna's just very difficult to deal with when you're the Alistar. He can just tornado interrupt you from going for your headbutt pulverize. But something that's very interesting is Patrick locking in the LeBlanc. In the very first rotation, not deciding to last pick it. They are on the red side, so they have the option to last pick a champion, but instead they're going to be taking the LeBlanc away. I don't think that's something that's extremely high priority. Maybe it's different for Indonesia.
She also has a nerf. She also got nerf on her Q and on her wave clear. We got the Lulu ban here for H2, so no priority on the ADC. Very likely they just want to save maybe a Saya on this one.
Yeah, so that does restrict the champion pool. For the supports, Rakan is still open actually, and Rakan is a very high priority support, and Sai is open. Sai Rakan still an option for this KLH team. They could opt to go for a more hyper carry oriented.
It would be a Varus.
Yeah, maybe like Kog'Maw Taric, something like that. Taric's still open.
I'm starting to have a feeling like Headhunters like slightly giving away here their draft, because right now, I mean, the LeBlanc, there's an early reveal on the LeBlanc, and there's also a nerf on the LeBlanc. There's also the Varus, despite the Rakan and the Saya being available. It would be a Saya here, and that's another pick. So you could easily pick a Saya Rakan combo for this one for KLH. But of course,
the Saya Thresh, also good.
No problem. No problem. And H2, it should be a... Yeah, well, there's an Alistar.
Yeah.
We forgot about the Alistar on this one. And Renekton.
It's gonna be... If they lock in that Renekton, it's gonna be the Cho'Gath jungle for Chris Kyle. We haven't really seen any Cho'Gath jungles yet. Most of the Cho'Gaths have been in the top lane. Yeah. And yeah, I really like the initial drafting phase from Headhunters. I like the Cho'Gath, I like the Alistar.
Yes, but
yeah, I don't... the LeBlanc is a big question mark. Especially picking the LeBlanc into the Galio mid. I'm not too sure how that matchup is supposed to go, but in in my opinion, in theory, it doesn't really go that great for the LeBlanc.
Yes,
so
because it's not an obvious win lane here for the LeBlanc. And if she decides to actually visit the side lanes, that's where Galio excels.
yeah. But again, this is Patrick. Maybe he's relying on his mechanics. Maybe this is he's expecting just mechanically outplay Kuala Lumpur Hunters. Well, that's pretty dangerous to it's pretty dangerous to enter the game with that sort of mindset. So maybe Headhunters has a plan coming to the into this game with the LeBlanc, as that was a very confident LeBlanc lock
That should be confident.
Yeah.
That should be confident.
So maybe it's, I think
like
it's something they talked over
champion,
overnight. Maybe it's something they've been practicing for sure.
Yes. Problem here is even Sai has a sizable kit to go against the LeBlanc.
Yeah.
So that's what's interesting here. So for our viewers, of course, we are live on YouTube. What about you? What are your thoughts for that draft? It's I think for your call, I'm actually leaning more on the composition here of Kuala Lumpur
Yeah,
Hunters.
I definitely really like that Kuala Lumpur Hunter pick. Not only do they have a lot of comfort picks, I think it's just a very well-rounded team composition. They have a lot of bruiser threats with that Rek'Sai, with that Jarvan. Good initiation from that Galio, good wave clear from that Galio. And then Thresh, playmaking opportunity, and Saya just so strong in that late game.
What's just interesting about Headhunters is that they were already in the position to actually take advantage of the draft. Like on the second rotations of the bans, could have picked that Saya. They could have actually banned out more ADCs. Like maybe force, like they could even ban the Kog'Maw.
Yeah, but I think it's not completely over from the pick and ban phase. Like, Headhunters can still win this game, and I think this is going to boil down to the junglers. It depends really on how well Chris Kyle can match against Caspiel.
Caspiel?
Yeah, because
I'm not so sure, man.
Yeah, Caspiel has been really good, but at the same time, I've also been impressed by Chris Kyle's performance. I didn't expect him to perform that well, but in the game against, I believe it was Team Manila Eagles, he had a very solid Rek'Sai game. He had almost a 90% kill participation 20 minutes into the game.
But that was against Team.
Yeah,
that was
Team
against
so, but yeah, Coops versus Caspiel, day and night difference right there.
Yes,
so we'll see how it goes.
I feel like Caspiel is on a very different level. You could even include. We had this small conversation back then at GPL Spring 2017, where Caspiel clearly includes in the top 200 players in the world. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are live in the Summoner's Rift once again for the Garena Premier League Summer 2017, day 2 of the group stage. It is from Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur Hunters versus Indonesia's Headhunters. 2 Hunters in the Rift. Let's see who will prevail.
And right off the bat, we do see fairly standard starts coming in from both teams. Not going to be going for any invade so far. And let's see how this early game decides to pan out. And we do see that Chris Kyle gonna start in the Raptors. Yeah, so it's gonna be a slight invade. So Shiro gonna get that ward down pretty deep, spotting that red buff start, and that should free up Caspiel to dictate where he decides to go on the map. They will be able to know if Chris Kyle goes for that red buff start. I mean, Raptors red buff, then possibly blue, and finish in that bottom. Yeah.
On this one, so a little bit of info scouted here against the jungler of Headhunters. Of course, not to mention there's also a ward laid down by Box on Shiro. So it's very likely we might not be seeing any 4-minute early game ganks here against the lanes, especially coming in from the junglers, as those infos useful, of course, for these players. Ladies and gentlemen, it's very interesting. Let's see. Actually, for the matchup, I want to consider the matchups here. Right now, it would be on Kuala Lumpur's other side. It actually leans more on the Kuala Lumpur Hunters bottom duo, Vivek and of course Bipolar. If you could see the matchup against Alistar and of course on this back.
Yeah, for sure. And here comes the early aggression coming from Ruben. Bipolar already taken down to half HP, but it looks like they will be looking to go very aggressive in this bottom lane, both supports with that ignite. So a lot of kill pressure coming in.
And I think it's just too hard. Bipolar is actually holding on to this ignite.
Level 2
now
power
puts the
spike.
dead sentence on the Crusher. Of course, there's a Blade Caller. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Patrick along with Chris Kyle gonna be engaging on Caspiel. Caspiel still will survive. Flash away, getting the kill against Kyle on this one. And that should be 1-0 in favor of Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
And I have to really commend Caspiel right
Look at
there.
that.
Very aggressive start, very well played.
Yes.
Coming in from Caspiel, knowing exactly where Chris Kyle was, meets him in the jungle, punishes him very easily.
And that's what sets
Yeah.
Caspiel apart, you know?
First blood already, his trial,
Taking
0-1.
this, winning and taking this high-stakes duel. And that's actually a big enabler for him, getting the first blood. Upon his first recall, he would definitely get an item lead here compared to Chris Kyle. And I wonder, because not every day would see a Cho'Gath jungle. So it cannot be denied that the Rek'Sai would have a bigger impact in the lane. You can see there, you could actually feel the nerf on a Q, but still the LeBlanc, especially with the damage, it would be RH going down first onto Patrick. It's an early domination. I feel like RH is willing to take up the duel against Patrick here, when in fact he's actually better at controlling the lanes.
Yeah, and that is very difficult to do, and it shows Patrick he's very confident right now. He did manage to get the solo kill onto RH. That's something you don't usually see. RH, a very good mid laner, and he just got solo killed by Patrick.
At the early parts, at the early levels, I believe that LeBlanc would have a better kit of trading with Galio. What's so good at Galio is that he is very capable in controlling the lanes, not necessarily dueling with LeBlanc or trading up with LeBlanc. So we are left with 1-1 into our game. Ladies and gentlemen, a little bit of a trade up there in the bottom lane. Chris Kyle here. Got some info. Actually, very interesting drop on that
Yeah, and
on that Bloom.
Really?
Of course, that's an offensive proc on the Bloom, but he has an idea. He actually senses that the Rek'Sai is just around the corner on the red buff. Of course, Caspiel with showing up. That's the knockup onto Chris Kyle. This is not good. Not good for the jungler of Headhunters, as he gets hunted as well by that jungler from Kuala Lumpur. You could see that the bird would go down. That it's not a bird, it's actually bipolar. The Thresh would go down against H2's bottom duo. It's in exchange for Ruben.
Yeah.
Kill is taken in by the Alistar.
And this is really good coming in from Caspiel. Caspiel has been destroying Chris Kyle so far in this early game, and Patrick actually gets our head really low in this middle lane. But again, going back to Caspiel, he manages to steal the red buff away and manages to kill Chris Kyle again.
What's so weird is actually Chris Kyle taking the Raptor, knowing that Caspiel is on the red buff. That's a very threatening. That's a lot of damage coming in from the Raptor camp. Now straight up into the top lane. Of course, Box here. Falling below half health, and Caspiel definitely putting a lot of pressure here. That sentence from Bipolar along with the combo, not going to be allowed to actually distortion away. Here comes Ruben with the headbutt full price combo once again, and Ruben would take his second kill in this game with RH going down into his hands. 4-3 still, Caspiel's just around the corner. Wood tunnel in, may not get the knockup, but the death sentence will. The damage is there. Teleport coming in from the LeBlanc along with the Shiro on this one, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and that should be no kill in the mid lane. Still, we are left with a pick on Heart.
Yeah, and we do see that Bipolar made the rotate towards that mid lane, and this has been a very bloodthirsty game so far. It's only been 6 minutes in, and the score line is already 4-3. If we take a look at where exactly the gold is on right now, we do see 2 kills onto RH, and we do see 1 kill onto Caspiel. Meanwhile, on the Headhunter side, 2 kills onto Alistar and 1 kill onto LeBlanc. So I'd have to say still in favor of the Kuala Lumpur Hunters. You don't really want to give that gold to the Alistar, but at the same time, there is an opportunity to really snowball this game once you give that gold to your support, because it allows your support to buy that side stone early, and that lets you establish early vision control, early tempo.
Or if not on the side stone, you could actually buy the
mobility boots and just constantly pressure the mid lane, constantly pressure the enemy jungle, and I think that's what Alistar needs, given just how aggressive Caspiel has been so far.
Yes, and I think that's the best answer, especially as you mentioned, for Caspiel. Right now, very interesting jungle item for Caspiel. You actually got the Chilling Smite on him instead of the Poacher's Snap. That is the Stalker's Blade, right?
I believe so, but with the Chilling Smite, that's actually a pretty big trade-off as you lose those 2 wards.
Yes,
and
that's what's so interesting, because Caspiel is going for that really offensive build with the
very solo queue style.
Yeah, solo queue style.
Because something we've been seeing in the GPL is
it's always
the junglers rush the Poacher's Knife, and what they do is they go for the invade and they put down 2 very deep wards, and that completely cuts off the gank pass from one side of the map.
Those wards are more invaluable compared to the Chilling Smite. Here we go, Patrick here. There's going to be an illusion along with the material change on this one. Becky with a final hit did not get tagged by the Crusher, but the Rupture will. Chris Kyle getting the kill against Becky.
Yeah, lots of trades going down in the bottom lane. Becky was forced to use the heal. Unfortunately, not yet level 6, so I believe that fight started by the flash chain of corruption coming in from Crusher, and Becky, no ult yet, so was forced to die, and here comes another death.
Definitely
from the
without
follow
any
for Hunters.
ADC, they can force things here in the bottom lane. That's what's so powerful with this Alistar getting a 2-kill lead. Let's say mobility boost is not really designed for taking the kind of engage. But let's see what is being done here. Caspiel,
he's gonna die. Oh, that was so
That's
clutch.
a nice shield coming in from RH. Definitely without the shield.
The damage reduction coming in from the Galio ult was just perfect right there, and that's what enabled Caspiel to live. But meanwhile, Chris Kyle, even though he's been completely shut down in his own jungle, good presence of mind for him to go gank bottom.
Yes.
And now he has those 2 kills to his name, and that's going to help him restabilize a bit. He doesn't even have his jungle item yet, so that's kind of concerning when you consider how Caspiel has 41 CS. He does have the blue smite, the chilling smite, and he also has the Bami Cinder.
Yes, by that time he actually just cashed that gold. We actually got this.
Yeah, that's interesting. He went for the Bramble Vest. Yeah, the Bramble Vest and Ninja Tabi instead of finishing his jungle item. Yeah, no jungle item yet for Chris Kyle. So I think he's expecting Caspiel to duel him a lot more. So what he wants to do is be able to
win that duel.
He wants to be able to stand up to him a bit more and trade a bit better.
Yes, lots of control wards as well being brought here by Headhunters, the discipline of these players. But of course...
Actually, that's really interesting. You have every single player from the Headhunter side has a control ward. So I think they understand right now that if they don't do anything now about Caspiel, if they don't ward their own jungle, if they're not able to keep Caspiel in check, they're going to slowly lose control of the map, slowly lose control of the game. So they're making a play now, and that's really smart by them. Really good presence of mind.
Caspiel already has his full jungle item completed, ladies and gentlemen. But what's so interesting here is the itemizations coming in from these two junglers. First is on Caspiel picking up the chilling smite, not prioritizing the wards from the poacher's knife, and this time Chris Kyle delaying his jungle item. So the delegations for the team was, let's buy control ward.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have wards to provide for you guys. Just buy your own control ward. Let's try to bring the fight against Caspiel. I'm gonna buy Bramble Vest, and let's try to win the duels against him. So they want to keep Caspiel in check, and Caspiel is willing to take that challenge as well with this chilling smite. Now with the Cinderhawk buff completed. All right, so 4-5 into our game. And the lead earlier by Kuala Lumpur Hunters was offset here, tilting the stage in favor of the Headhunters. I think I'd give that to RH. I think I'd give that to RH earlier in the mid lane, especially with that heroic entrance for Caspiel. Because had it been that Caspiel was killed there should be a swing in the gold in favor of HQ. And there we go, another fight here in the Riverside. Caspiel's kept in check here. Bitbox along with Ruben on this one, but their backline is quite vulnerable. Chris Kyle here dropping below half health, gonna be using the smite to sustain himself. No priority, no focus, and no sight here against the Mountain Drake, as they know that it's just too durable, and no casualty as well from that engage.
Yeah, so again, more trades coming in, but it's going to be very interesting to see how they decide to deal with this. The gold is actually in favor of Headhunters right now. You see that most of the gold probably still on the Alistar and Shoga, so not exactly where you want your gold to be, but I guess it's okay as it is allowing them to create early pressure on the map.
And they're grouping up. They're grouping up. You can see the signal here by H2. By a lot of control wards, you have a support with sizable kills in the game with a mobility boots, so they could take disengage. But this time, Ruben, no combo for him. He receives the death sentence. The box would not connect onto anyone. Bipolar flashes in to at least deal the damage in there. Another flash in from Becky. This is too aggressive. He has no kill on this one. Here comes RH, and it would be the Flying Galio getting the kill against the Alistar. 1-0 in the top lane in exchange for 2 flash and an ult.
And I don't think that was worth it unless they decide to take this turn, unless they decide to take this Rift.
That's allowed.
That was 4 summoner spells. That was the flash heal onto Becky, the flash ignite on Bipolar, and 3 ultimates used. RH's ultimate, Becky's Featherstorm, and the box coming in from Bipolar, so they didn't take any objective from that. And even though they got that kill, they got that 300 gold, this leaves Headhunters a lot of opportunity to just take control.
They cannot even take that Reef Herald, ladies and gentlemen, but we could see that Shiro was given space to push the bottom lane outer turret here. So, of course, that won't be destroyed. So still no, actually no towers taken here by the squad of the Kuala Lumpur Hunters. And look at that, that's the power of the Galio. Look at that, a solo lane kill by RH.
Yeah, once RH gets a couple items, he doesn't even have that many damage
Yes.
items. It's just pure magic resist, but at the same time, he's been able to solo kill Patrick.
That's what's so unfair about the
Yeah.
Galio. You build tank on him, he still deals consistent damage.
Yeah, meanwhile, LeBlanc starting to struggle a bit. He's starting to fall behind in CS, even though he did get that solo kill in that early game.
Is this a visual bug?
It hasn't been enough. LeBlanc is going for
Cutlass?
that's gonna be the Gunblade for
Gunblade.
LeBlanc. Gunblade
Yes,
LeBlanc,
of course.
very common.
Sorry, yes. Of course. There's been a priority in the Gunblade for the most part on our mid laners. Along with the Morello, Nomicon, and even in the Rod of Ages teleport coming in from the LeBlanc. This is not good for Becky. She still has... her ultimate is not available, actually. Receives the ultimate coming in from the Varus, but there should be the Lantern. Not enough as Ben is there creeping in check. Here comes Griscal as well. RH is being ignored here. Here comes the Jarvan with Shiro putting in the Cataclysm, and it will be Crusher going down. It's a 2v3 scenario with Shiro getting focused on. Patrick is still there. The damage is still there. There's the Q coming in from RH. He cannot take this duel. No backup for him as it's a 1v3 scenario. Sizable damage. Look at the damage from that Q on that Galio. And still, you could see that the members of Headhunters, despite 3v1, would have a hard time getting the kill against RH.
Yeah, I think
what are they doing here?
very worth it coming in from Headhunters. That's 3 kills for 1. And again, it was Kuala Lumpur Hunters are playing very reckless. They're not taking the time to establish vision control. They're not respecting where Headhunters is on the map. They're just constantly fighting. They're constantly pushing the lanes without just paying attention to the general macro strategy.
Yeah. You know, there's no exchange for an objective.
Yeah, they
after
were able to
every
get the Mountain Drake, but 3 kills for a Mountain Drake doesn't seem too worth it.
Yes, especially in the early minutes of our game, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know, man. I feel like Kuala Lumpur Hunters is entering this fight too confident.
Yeah, for sure. It is the very first game of the day, so there might be some jitters. There might be some just, I don't know, just
No blind, come what may. Come what may.
Recklessness, yeah.
Yes, recklessness on this one. But you can see, actually, if you consider the map pressure here, Kuala Lumpur Hunters is set to actually make a push on all lanes. Right now, they got their bottom duo actually in the mid lane.
I really like this play coming in from Kuala Lumpur Hunters. This is this type of position you want your team to be in. You want that Galio in a solo lane, in the side lane, so he's going to be pushing that top lane. He does have the ultimate, he does have the teleport. And teleport not available, but when it does come up, that's another option. Meanwhile, you want to keep Becky in the mid lane. You want to give him the most protection with the Caspiel and Bipolar in the sidelines.
And look at that, all of them actually dealing sizable damage against Ruben on this one. Caspiel, despite having only one longsword, and with Ruby Crystals plus the Merc Treads, all those claws impaling onto Chris Kyle would put him below half health. Rather onto Ruben. You can see here, we got Caspiel as well showing himself against Patrick. Very interesting. Tries to bait him out, especially with the Galio entering this fight. Here comes the Hero's entrance. And, of course, it's very hard to catch the LeBlanc with that distortion available.
I think Kuala Lumpur Hunters needs to slow down a bit. If you take a look at the items, a lot of this Headhunter team does have their first core items complete. We do see the Black Cleaver already completed onto Box. Meanwhile, we do see Righteous Glory onto Cho'Gath. In the mid lane, LeBlanc has just picked up the Gunblade, and now what we're waiting for is for Cruiser to pick up the Blade of the Rune King. And once they have all those items complete, they're going to be ready to fight.
Yes, they can actually take a fight against the Kuala Lumpur Hunter squad, especially they got nice tanks in the front line. I feel like they're just lacking in damage, especially with the Galio.
It's going to be hard.
For the Galio. It's going to be hard for them. There's going to be the taunt along with the Q, distortion away. And yeah, what's so weird about this LeBlanc is she's actually taking a lane and facing the Galio. She doesn't have to, really. She can actually just visit the other lanes.
I think she kind of needs to, as that's why I don't like the LeBlanc pick, because it's very hard to deal with the Galio as a LeBlanc. And while you may have that Gunblade up, it's not doing much damage when you consider that RH already has the adaptive helm, so a lot of damage reduction there, and there's a lot of magic resist.
There's no dent on RH.
Yeah.
If the Galio's not capping check, it's pretty much a game.
Yeah, and we do see RH, he's just a Galio. He's already got that top lane turret at half HP by himself, bullying out Patrick in that top lane.
Galio of
Yeah.
champion, very fitting to be called the bully, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, the swing in the gold slightly is in favor of the Kuala Lumpur Hunter squad. Now gonna be making a push here in the mid lane outer turret. Might be a walk in the park for them, but of course Crusher has his ultimate still available. One auto turret hit.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting as imagine if you picked the more scaling mid laner in this mid lane instead of the LeBlanc. You might have had a better time as Galio does tend to fall off a bit in the late game. Orianna, I believe, was banned.
Orianna was banned.
I think a couple options might have been maybe the Corki, maybe Lucian.
Lucian, yes, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you read good his tanks in the front line because the heroes and plus 2 members receiving the crowd control. Cassidy would just flash away and look at the damage dealt onto RH. There's almost none, but of course it's a 3v1 and he's on a shutdown. So 7-9 in our game, and that's actually like a slight win for the Headhunters. Do take note that the mid lane has been taken in by the Kuala Lumpur Hunters on this one. That sentence by Bipolar would give him his own death, and that should be Patrick getting the kill.
Yeah, that's going to be the Kuala Lumpur Hunters overstaying their welcome, and now it's the Headhunters looking to make the push. This should be the engage right here.
This is not good. There is the ultimate and the Blade Caller who puts a lot of crowd control onto the members of Headhunters, but look at Patrick in front line, puts in the Q. There's the damage. Crusher securing the kill with the Q as well, and that is the push coming in from Headhunters. This is clearly Kuala Lumpur Hunters worrying now for this game.
Yeah, that was the 3 kills for Headhunters, and I believe they got that mid lane turret as well. So definitely worth it. And now we do see that Patrick does have some value, does have some merit in that pick. If he's able to get the pick onto Veki, once Veki dies, it's very difficult for Kuala Lumpur Hunters to do anything. And Patrick was able to do so, and Veki does fall. He is struggling right now, and that's not really what I expected from this Kuala Lumpur Hunter bot lane. Veki and Bipolar were looking very good yesterday. Like they held their ground against Marky and Rock, but this time around they're struggling against Cruzzer and Ruben.
They hit by Bipolar in the mid lane. That was so weird, that sentence, and he actually pressed it again.
I think he had an opportunity to run away, but he was still trying to play footsie with this Varus, and he got punished really hard as a result.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, yellow timers on the Baron, along with the Mountain Drake. There will be new objectives popping out into our map. Do take note that aside from the outer mid lane turret that was taken in by the Headhunters, there's still another budding turret for them to take, which is on the top lane.
Take a look at the gold right now. It's still only less than 1,000 gold in favor of Headhunters, so still anyone's game. But after losing a team fight like that, Kuala Lumpur Hunters definitely playing on the back foot. They're playing with the mindset that they're behind.
Yes. And
with that, it's going to be Headhunters starting this dragon. Looks like no one will be looking to contest as Castiel all the way back in base, and they have no vision at all.
Clear, there's 8 stacks on the Dark Seal of Patrick. So you can see how big the swing is that was taken in here by the Headhunter squad. So right now, after this Mountain Drake, let's see, both of them has the Mountain Drake badge now. And that should even things out in terms of objectives.
Yeah. So Kuala Lumpur Hunters, they've got a lot of vision around this top side of the map. Baron buff is very well covered, but they're committing a lot of resources onto this bottom
lane. That's what's so interesting. They could actually just leave Shiro here in the bottom lane and maybe bait chicks here in the Baron. But a different scenario happens here in the bot lane as members of Kuala Lumpur Hunters 3 against 2 with Box going down on this one. Chris Kyle, that is definitely a Cho'Gath gonna be left for dead with 2-0 Kuala Lumpur Hunters this time.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see how all members of Kuala Lumpur Hunters...
the fight still continues, ladies and gentlemen. That sentence onto Crusher. This is not good for the ADC. But look at that. Where's the damage? Here comes the damage. Becky is the damage. Auto attacks, and that should be the ADC going down. Bipolar still surviving on this one. That sentence onto Ruben. And of course, that is an Alistar. Where's the damage for that? There's the durability, but not enough with a double kill given onto Azora, Becky.
Yeah, very interesting decision by Headhunters. After losing that fight, they came in one at a time. Even though they saw Chris Kyle and Vox die in the bottom lane still made the decision to rotate towards the bottom and try to get more kills. And that's not what you want to do. Good job from Kuala Lumpur Hunters, sticking to their guns and committing to that fight. And it just, even then, like the decision to force the fight at the bot lane, still not really that great. They were able to take a turret out of it, but at what cost?
I'm not so sure if it's questionable. I think that is a very clear mistake there.
Yeah. Speaking of mistakes, a pick onto Veki by Patrick. Veki recalling not where he should be.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, of course that mistake was reflected here by Veki. But of course, that is on Patrick. And of course, LeBlanc is an assassin. Assassins love
And
hunting marksmen.
Ping's already down on this Baron buff. Looks like Headhunters are looking to start it. They do have the teleport up very soon for
Who's more
Box.
equipped on taking this fight, ladies and gentlemen? That should be a nice choke point. But Ruben is kept in check by the crowd control from the death sentence. There's the Q that should stop Headhunters on their tracks. Right now, who's not on the fight? Teleport count, both Box and Shiro still available on this one. They have a nice objective taken here, Headhunters. But they're not taking the rip.
Yeah,
Scott,
they're going to be looking for the
for a
pick right
pick.
now.
Yeah. Okay, that's the Gunblade. Onto Bipolar. Where's the box? Ladies and gentlemen, Cashmill in the back line. They're blocking in. Putting a hard shot onto Crusher. That should deliver the Galio with a two-man ultimate. Look at that. That is the ADC gun against the Headhunters. Along with Patrick on this one. No damage now available here for the Headhunter squad. And it should be a call out for them with Bucks walking away along with the Chugget, along with Ruben. I'm not so sure they should just give this Baron, or else they'll be giving another kill as a bonus.
Yeah, but Chris Kyle does have the flash and feast available. Is he going to go for the Bear steal play? This is a possibility.
That's
they
a possibility.
do need to be careful. Here he
Okay,
goes.
there's
He
the back,
flashes
there's the
in,
steal,
not
but
enough.
that is Caspel securing the smite, ladies and gentlemen, and that should be the bonus. RH taking the chase here against the All-Star, and that should be 3 kills. Along with the Baron, a very big win for Kuala Lumpur Hunters, no casualty on their end.
That's not the best place you want to fight as a Headhunter team composition. If you take a look at the team, at the positioning of the Headhunters, and you take a look at their team comp, that's not how you want to make the fight.
Totally.
Kuala Lumpur Hunters has so much zone control with the Galio. Galio actually got, I think, a 4-man ultimate down. That knockup was very important as that allowed Caspiel and Shiro enough time to dive the backline. Take a look at exactly what happened.
Actually, the first one who made that setup was Caspiel.
I think they overcommitted way too hard trying to kill Bipolar, and they got punished.
Yeah, all they need is to have Caspiel in the backline, and that's a very bad part of the map to actually take the fight, especially with the tunnels from that Rek'Sai. And if you have a champion in the backline, then that is automatically 2 champions in the backline because of the Galio.
They didn't have enough burst damage to kill Bipolar. I think they were expecting to go for the easy pick considering they have the LeBlanc and they have the Cho'Gath. They just needed to CC lock her, do your burst damage, feast, and then go start Baron. That's the plan, but it took too long and they didn't respect the engage from Caspiel onto Cruiser. If Cruiser's dead, you don't have any sustained damage for that fight, and you're just gonna lose.
It seems that Rip Scuttler seems a better choice now.
Yeah, I think they should have just
take the Rip Scuttler really. Not set up big against Bipolar. And on this one, let's see a little bit of a standoff here in the mid lane. Becky along with Bipolar. 3 members here. Tries to make a push in the inner mid lane turret. So you can see Shiro along with Caspiel here. I mean, Shiro making a push in the bot lane with Caspiel looking around the corner. They get a knock-up. Let's see on this one. Where's the Galio? Once again, I'm just waiting for that one. Catching Prism should be the first one. And of course, the ultimate on the red side. Here comes another jump onto Crusher. Gets the knock-up. No damage. Will be down here by the ADC. And this should be a very, very dominating advance here by the Kuala Lumpur Hunters as they take in their 3rd kill. May include Chris Kyle. Where's the knockup? Another EQ combo rather from Shiro. And 4 in exchange for none. And Kuala Lumpur Hunters goes big on this game.
Yeah, that was a very decisive fight from Kuala Lumpur Hunters. They managed to kill them underneath their turrets. They chased extremely far and they didn't get punished for it. So this is what you want to be. This is how you tell a team's going to win when they're able to do something like that. So it looks like it's going to be Kuala Lumpur Hunters going for this inhibitor, and there's not much that Hunters can do right now.
That's not underneath the turret, that's actually underneath 2 turrets.
Yeah.
That's how big Kuala Lumpur Hunters is dominating this game. Let's see another team fight, the 2nd fight for this one, but this time Galio joining the fight, gets the knock-off onto Box. Ruben would go down, but Caspiel is gonna shut down. So, answer for an answer. Support dying, but of course in exchange for the jungler. But it's a matter of time, really. That's a very, very big chunk of gold that Kuala Lumpur Hunters would take from their base. And let's see the replay.
Look at that tower dive. They go immediately onto Box. They chase Box all the way. And very aggressive, no regard for the turrets. And there's not much that this Headhunter team can do. They don't have enough damage. They don't have enough CC. They have engaged, but their disengage is quite lacking. And it's funny how 3 minutes ago, the gold was very close. It was like neck and neck, really. And now, after 3 minutes, it's roughly a 10,000 gold lead in favor of Kuala Lumpur Hunters. And it should be their game at this point. There's not much that Headhunters can do. This is where the Renekton starts to fall off. He won't be able to do that much damage. There's not really that many priority targets for him to just be annoying, because when he tries to dive Becky, Bipolar's there, Becky has the Featherstorm, and Becky just deals a lot of damage to this Renekton, so he can't dive onto Becky. His peel isn't that great either. There's a lot of threats they have to deal with. They have to deal with Arhedge diving, Shiro diving, Castiel diving. So Renekton has fallen off, and Patrick has fallen off as well. This LeBlanc isn't really doing much anymore.
I feel like in GPL, in Southeast Asian region, getting an early game lead is very crucial. Because losing any early game or mid-game major fights, there are very few teams which can play from behind. And right now, I cannot expect Headhunters to really play from behind on this one. Right now, Colorful Hunters is knocking not on the door, but on the fences here of the HQ squad. Bipolar doesn't even need to connect that death sentence. And you just see Chris Sky here receiving the opening from our head, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, this fight tanky. This is the Cho'Gath, but not tanking against 3 members. And you can see that our Bipolar and our heads would be taking up an advance here onto the Nexus turret. It's going to be taking the first Nexus turret. Patrick here tries to make up an answer. Here comes the Becky with the pre-gates. Another Smashing Standard along with the Dragon Strike Jarvan combo on this one. But that should be the members of Headhunters getting shoved here. Bipolar is gone. Castle is gone. Shot down there by the LeBlanc. They're just fighting under the Nexus, ladies and gentlemen, with Arhedge as the final boss on this one. Pushing the Q, Crusher is still there. Where is Shiro? Auto attack on him. And I'm sure would go down on this. Can he finish the game? No, it's not. And you can see, ladies and gentlemen, that the Headhunter squad will be leaving with, I think, around 5% health on their Nexus.
But there's not much they can do right now. That's still a 10,000 gold lead in favor of Fallen for Hunters. And something I've noticed so far in this tournament, seems like whoever, like, regardless of what, like, you can disregard the first 25 minutes of the game. It's whoever wins the fight before Baron, they usually tend to win the game.
Yes.
And that's kind of what we saw right now. It was really back and forth. We saw some moments where Headhunters were winning. We saw some moments where Kuala Lumpur Hunters were winning. Let's take a look at this fight.
That's ridiculous. That is actually a solo kill fight already. Nobody's keeping the Nexus.
Yeah, they're looking to go for those kills. They aren't really prioritizing any turrets, really. They could have had an opportunity to end the game so far, but instead, you see them fighting instead.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, shoutouts for our players there in Bangkok, ladies and gentlemen, on this replay. Anyway, as I mentioned, going back on what you said about the 25th minute mark, that's what I want to say. That in GPL, it feels like when teams when they blew up a fight before the Baron, some of them are very capable of really taking it from behind. So, and of course, like GPL teams are really good when they are ahead. And this is an example. Kuala Lumpur Hunters just hunting
and
the heads of the Indonesian squad here one by one.
This is a very similar story to what we saw when Kuala Lumpur Hunters beat Young Generation. All it took was one Baron fight to win them the game.
So that would be a dent actually in the very strong PCSA league, ladies and gentlemen. Another big fight here in the bottom lane. Lexi will go down first. Look at that. Shiro flash in with the Cataclysm, and Bugs is trying to soaking up a lot of damage into the backline here of the Kuala Lumpur Hunters. But Ruven is gone on this one, and it's only Patrick, along with Crusher, main damage dealers to survive against the pusher of the Kuala Lumpur Hunters. They will not go down, but the Nexus will, and Kuala Lumpur Hunters will take this victory against the Headhunters. Lots of Hunters on this game.
Yeah, and I mean, again, we saw in that very last fight, their team comp just scaled off, just fell off. They didn't have enough damage with the Renekton. Renekton was doing his best to zone out Becky, but instead he was the one dying to Becky. Meanwhile, we saw Patrick, he did nothing during that team fight. And I guess it goes back to the drafting really, and a bit of the decision making. There were opportunities where Headhunters could have won the game, but they didn't. They decided to, I don't know, questionable calls.
Yes, after losing that fight on the blue buff, I feel like Headhunters blew out of steam now.
Yeah.
For that game, but let's see, it's still the early part of the group stage, but a point is a point, and that should be a point going into the Kuala Lumpur Hunters squad. So, ladies and gentlemen, for our viewers, we got another game heading up after this break. It's gonna be, Headhunters once again. So they got 2 matches. I think, no. It's
I don't recall. We can take a look at the schedule.
If we actually take the schedule.
That does put Headhunters they're now 1-3 at the very bottom of the standings, while the Kuala Lumpur Hunters are now going to be 2-2, so tied with Team Manila Eagles.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to head on to a quick break. Once again, this has been our coverage for the Garena Premier League Summer 2017. We are on the day 2 of the group stage with a match of H2 Headhunters versus Kuala Lumpur Hunters. It's really very confusing mentioning these two names. Ladies and gents,
Both
congratulations to Kuala Lumpur Hunters. We have been your shoutcasters. I'm Shibu with one for an eye, and of course, with Nim. We'll see you after this break. Okay, there's the back, there's the steal, but that is Castro securing the smite, ladies and gentlemen, and that should be the bonus. RH taking a chase here against the Rec side. Here comes another jump onto Crusher, gets the knock up, no damage, will be down here by the ADC, and this should be a very, very dominating advance here by the Kuala Lumpur Hunters as they take in their third kill. May include Chris Kyle, where's the knock up, another EQ combo rather from Shiro, and 4 in exchange to 4 knocking on this one. Right now, Kuala Lumpur Hunters is knocking not on the door, but on the fences here of the H2 squad. Bipolar doesn't even need to connect that death sentence. And do this with Chris Kyle here, receiving the opening from our head, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, this fight tanky, this is the Chogat, but not tanky against team members. And you can see that our Bipolar and our heads would be taking up an advance here onto the Nexus turret. It's going to be taking the first Nexus turret. Patrick here tries to make up an answer. Here comes the Becky with the pre-gates. Another Mashing Standard along with the Dragon Strike Jarvan combo on this one. But that should be the members of Headhunters getting shoved here. Bipolar is gone. Castle is gone. Shot down there by the LeBlanc. They're just fighting under the Nexus, ladies and gentlemen, with our heads as the final boss on this one. Puts in the Q. Crusher is still there. Where is Shiro? Auto attack on him. And Shiro will go down on this. Can he finish the game? No, it's not. And you can see so that might be a death actually in the very strong BCSA league, ladies and gentlemen. Another big fight here in the bottom lane. Lexi will go down first. Look at that. Shiro flash in with the catch prison. And Bugs is trying to soaking up a lot of damage into the backline here of the Kuala Lumpur Hunters. But Ruben is gone on this one. And it's only Patrick, along with Crusher, main damage dealers to survive against the pusher of the Kuala Lumpur Hunters. They will not go down, but the Nexus will, and Kuala Lumpur Hunters will take this victory against the Headhunters. Lots of Hunters on this game.